Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for a new AC Milan live stream to talk about the latest news and rumors currently going on at AC Milan. I hope all of you had a great weekend. This is a very important week coming up for Milan, because it is technically the final week of the transfer window. By the way, it does end on January 31st, so there will be a few days after this week is done. But if anything will have to happen, this is probably the last week and the last possibility for Milan to make a move in the winter transfer window. But getting into today's news, of course, I'll be speaking about Deulofeu's arrival as he completed his medicals and signed the contract earlier today at Milanello. And also I'll be speaking about a possible loan swap between AC Milan and Genoa, considering Mbaye Niang and Ocampos. So let's get right into it. As usual, make sure to leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you throughout the live stream. But getting into Deulofeu, as I mentioned, he finally did arrive at Milan. He actually arrived last night. This morning, he underwent his medicals, signed the contract, and actually joined the team already for his first training session, where he met Coach Vincenzo Montella and the rest of the teammates. He did very well. Apparently, he already likes the atmosphere, and I'm happy about that, because what's important regarding these players is that they arrive just in time and they already are involved in the training sessions, because we already have an important game on Wednesday, and chances are that Deulofeu will be getting called up. We're not quite sure whether he will be starting or not in that game just yet, but it is already something that you have to, kind of be aware of, because these players, they're not going to be given much time to integrate into the squad. They're going to be ready and set already to take part in those trainings in order to get called up. So I'm very happy that Deulofeu has already done that. He also chose his jersey number, and it will be number 7. With Deulofeu being the name that will be written in the back. I think he used some nicknames in prior times instead of Deulofeu, but he will be putting his last name there. And he also had an interview with several sources talking about what he's expecting at his time at Milan and what he prefers between goals and assists. If you take a look at his recent statistics in previous years when he was playing for Everton, for example, you could see that he tends to get more assists than goals, but he said that he also prefers scoring goals rather than giving just assists. But he did mention that when he does play on the right wing, it's more normal for him to kind of move towards the middle. He plays as a winger, but what he's trying to say that his movement also involves him moving towards the middle, and that is when he's most capable of providing assists. He also said that he likes to play on the left, and he said if he does end up playing on the left, he has a major possibility to score goals. What's important to him is to help the team, either if it's scoring goals or providing assists. So it really is, he's trying to be one of those team players. He doesn't just want to, score the goals himself. He wants to do both, score goals and provide assists to his teammates. And he also mentioned regarding what he's expecting at his time at Milan. Of course, this is a 6-month loan deal, meaning that at the end of the season, he will be returning to Everton. But considering his arrival, he said that if he wasn't guaranteed to get playing time at Milan, he simply wouldn't have joined Milan. Milan is pretty much giving him this guarantee because he wasn't getting playing time at Everton. And, he's expected to do that just now at Milan. He's expected to come in and get that playing time that was missing at Everton. He also said that he refused several offers from other clubs just to join Milan. He spoke greatly about Milan, saying that it was a glorious club with lots of achievements in their history, and it is the best team in Italy. Things that you would normally hear from players that just arrived to the club. But I definitely hope that Deulofeu will have a positive impact on this team. Like I said, he doesn't have much time to really imply a style of game on Milan because he will be here for 6 months. But these 6 months have to be really crucial for him and for Milan, more importantly, because he is expected to be played as a backup to Suso, but he could also be playing on the left side, like he mentioned himself. And I'll be speaking about this a bit later on now because a lot of you guys are probably asking, what does this mean for Niang on the left wing? Will he be getting playing time or not? I'll be getting that in just a bit of time. But really, it doesn't matter where he plays in the end. What I do hope is that he does get that playing time that was missing at Everton. And whenever he gets that playing time, he helps the team as much as possible, whether it's scoring goals or providing assists. He needs to know that people are expecting him to do good things at Milan and not just getting the playing time that he wanted from Everton. If you're going to be getting that playing time, I want you to also provide the results for the club. So let's give him a good welcome at Milan, and let's hope that he does indeed give us the results that we need. And really, let's hope for the best with this player. Now, moving on, I did want to speak about Niang because these reports just came in recently regarding a possible loan swap between Milan and Genoa. And this will involve Niang going to Genoa and Ocampos going to Milan. Now, obviously, nothing has been yet set in stone, but this is coming from a reliable source, that is Sky Sports in Italy, and it's something that is interesting both Milan and Genoa at the moment. So what really is at stake here is that Niang would be going on loan to Genoa until the end of the season, and Ocampos going the other way to Milan until the end of the season. Both would be loan deals. And right now, Milan and Genoa are negotiating about this, and it seems that they are okay with the whole transaction. What, however, remains is whether Niang wants to move to Genoa again, or if he wants to stay at Milan. And certain reports have said that Niang is not really too fond about returning to Genoa, but at the same time, he simply knows that he won't be getting much playing time or any playing time at all at Milan if he stays for the rest of the season. So practically, he has just a few days to make up his mind whether he will be going back to Genoa or remaining at Milan, or also there's the possibility of finding a new club for him. At this moment, I wouldn't rule out a potential sale to any club for Niang, but I have to say that it is kind of late in the transfer window. There's just about a week remaining. Things could, of course, still be formulated, but in my opinion, I believe that a sale to a potential club, whoever is interested, is something that we shouldn't really bank on, because in my opinion, I think it's just too late for that to happen. Whatever the case is for Niang, I think he will be joining a team on loan. Whether there is an option to buy or not, that will remain to be seen. But like I said, this deal might not even happen at all because Niang is not interested in returning back to Genoa, even though it would mean to get more playing time. So we'll have to see what happens. But speaking about Ocampos, personally, I haven't seen much of him. I know that he has scored 3 goals this season, and I don't really see a big difference between him and Niang personally from what I saw. Like I said, he is currently playing at Genoa. He is on loan from Marseille. I think his loan ends at the end of the season, so I'm not quite sure how Genoa will even go about that. But I don't think it's a significant improvement by bringing in Ocampos for Niang. At the same time, Ocampos probably won't be even getting any playing time or very little playing time now that Deulofeu will be coming in. Like I said, Deulofeu could be playing as a right winger, but there's also a high possibility that he will be playing as a left winger, and Bonaventura will be shifted back to solidify that midfield. So it really just depends on what Milan is thinking at the moment. But in my opinion, whether Niang remains or Ocampos comes, it really won't make a difference I think that both of these guys won't even be getting that much playing time for whoever stays or comes to this team. I think pretty much everything is kind of settled as to what Montella wants, and that is Suso playing on the right, Deulofeu possibly playing on the left, and Bonaventura being slotted back into that midfield. I think that is possibly the best scenario that could go on at Milan at the moment in terms of formation and what each player's role could actually be. But that really all depends on Montella and what he sees in the training sessions, what he sees is better suitable for these players. That really all depends on him. But in my opinion, I think Bonaventura going back to that midfield, even though I hate to say it because Bonaventura has been amazing as a left winger all season round. If he could help out the midfield and Deulofeu comes in to help out the attack as a left winger. Like I said, he is very good with crosses and he provides a lot of assists. And he also said that from the left side, he could score more goals. Personally, I don't see the problem with that. Having Deulofeu and Suso on the wings and Bonaventura back in the midfield. I think that could be the possible best scenario for Milan. Speaking about Deulofeu, one last comment. He did also play with Suso and Bacca back in his time. So imagine three players that really know each other, not necessarily inside out, but know each other from past years. Could also help Milan by having an attacking trio that knows each other inside out. And that is, of course, once again, Deulofeu, Bacca, and Suso. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Where you think Deulofeu could possibly play best. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about my opinion on where I think that Deulofeu could be more suitable in terms of position. But I would like to know your opinion on where you think he would play best. Also, what do you think about a possible loan swap for Niang and Ocampos? Will that benefit Milan in some sort, or do you think it will be the same thing nonetheless? Let me know all of that in the comment section below. I'll be reading your comments for the next few minutes. So get in your thoughts right now. And we're going to start off with a comment from MR Kazim. He says, Niang will be on the bench so long. That's what I hope. He is one of the worst players that's played for Milan. And he basically plays based on his mood. I definitely agree on the fact that he plays on his mood. I think he's capable of having very good performances, like I've said endless times this month. But unfortunately for him, his attitude and mentality plays a bigger role than anything else when it comes to his performances. It's unfortunate, and I think that, in my opinion, a change in club in this season could be the best possible outcome for him, where he would start fresh, maybe with a different mentality, get some playing time, and hopefully come back in the summer to Milan with a better mentality and attitude about his work. Because, Niang is capable of doing good things. We saw it at the beginning of the season. Why he hasn't scored or assisted any goals in the past 3 months, it's pretty much all on him. It doesn't really matter whether he played 50 minutes or 10 minutes. What matters is the attitude that he brings to his game. And simply, if you haven't scored in 3 months, or provide an assist there, it pretty much speaks volumes of what you have been doing, not only in training sessions, but when you were given the opportunity to shine. Taha Jata says, yeah, honestly, I do not see any place for Lucas Ocampos here. He says, do you think we must scout some people from the AFCON tournament for the future? I mean, I don't think that's necessarily in the plans for Milan at the moment. I do know that Fassone and Mirabelli were looking around in Europe in previous weeks, where they were scouting talent in France, Germany, Belgium, but I really don't know anything about the AFCON tournament. I don't think that they have been sending scouts there or anything. Maybe they're potentially looking at players, but I don't think that they're necessarily, pointing all of their interest on that tournament. Do I think that Deulofeu will be starting against Juventus on Wednesday, says Azem, considering Suso's injury? If so, where? I think that he could be called up to the game on Wednesday. To have him start already may be a little premature, given the fact that this was his first training session today, so he just has another training session before the match. I think it will be a bit premature to just insert him as a starter already. It could be a better possibility for the weekend game against Udinese, But speaking about Suso's injury, I did read reports that Honda could possibly replace him as that right wing. Personally, it's not the best option for me, and I don't like that at all. But at the same time, if we don't really have an alternate, player that could substitute Suso, then I guess we have to go for Honda. Like I said, I would like Deulofeu there, but personally, I don't think that Montella is ready to insert him into a starting 11 just yet, given the fact that today was his first training session. Exactly, Monarch says Ocampos is on loan at Genoa. That's exactly it. I did say that he's on loan from Marseille. Abdel Delgado says I would swap Niang for a midfielder, but not for another winger. Abdul says Ocampos has been as inconsistent as Niang. Sending Niang to Genoa is perfect for him, but we need another player, not Ocampos. And I completely agree with you on that. Like I said, Ocampos is not a real significant upgrade, if you ask me, over Niang. Maybe he has better attitude than Niang at the moment, but I simply don't even see him playing or starting games at all. He could be a substitute, but even there, what's in it for him by joining Milan? I simply don't know. I could see why Niang would be joining Genoa, but really that all depends on him, and Niang doesn't even want to move to Genoa. So, this deal might not even happen. Moving on, MR Kazim says, I think Deulofeu will be playing on the left and Bonaventura back in the midfield. I think it's better because Bonaventura can give good tactical options for Milan. I also mentioned that as well. Cesare, 85, Suso is injured. He's not necessarily super injured like many people would think. And what I mean by that, it's not like he's going to be out long term. But I think that he did pick up a knock against Napoli on the weekend. And he didn't train today, so he's going to be out for sure against Juventus. I'm pretty sure that he will. I can almost guarantee you. I'm not sure if he's going to return for the Udinese game, but personally, I don't think that Suso will be out long term. That's for sure. So we'll see exactly what happens with that. But yeah, I don't think that Suso will be taking part in that Juventus game. If Deulofeu becomes a left winger, do you think we should go for Keita in the summer? Yes, because Deulofeu is only coming on loan. So it's not even for sure that we will be keeping him. Well, first of all, that loan is not even with an option to buy. So he will definitely most likely return to Everton once the season is done. And we're going to be left with no left winger at that point. And yes, definitely I think we should go for Keita in the summer. DJ Ram says Deulofeu reminds me of Sheva somehow. I think he can do good as a striker. Well, he did pick out his number, that's for sure. But he also he could play as a striker. That is his secondary position. And like he said, when he does play on that right side, on the right wing, he tends to move more to a central position sometimes, where he could provide assists and so forth. So, like I said, I definitely hope that this could be an impactful addition to the team. Also, we have to recall that we didn't have any transfer funds this month. So, for me, a loan deal for Deulofeu, we got him practically for free. Well, we did pay something for it, but it wasn't really our money. It came from that Luisa Di Diano sale. I think it was possibly the best option that we had to add a player this winter. So I definitely hope that he will be providing a good impact to the team. What about Milan Bade? He's not a possibility this winter. Once again, I did repeat that endless times this month. Fiorentina simply won 10 to 12 million euros for the player. Money that Milan at the moment don't have. So that's pretty much impossible. Are you from Italy? I'm not from Italy. Well, I am from Italy, but I don't live there at the moment. If Deulofeu performs well, can we buy him later after the loan? He doesn't have an option to buy. So this is pretty much a dry loan. After the loan is done, he will be returning to Everton. Whether Milan could negotiate with Everton after that loan deal, that could be a possibility. But at the moment there's no option to buy, meaning that there hasn't been a price that has been set on the player in order for Milan to choose whether they want to buy him or not in the summer. Like I said, negotiations could still happen after the loan deal is done at the end of June. But I also want to recall that Barcelona have a repurchase option on the player. So that means that it will make everything a bit more serious, a bit more, where further negotiations, even with Barcelona, have to occur before Deulofeu could be a permanent Milan player. But I think that is a bit, once again, too premature to speak about him remaining at Milan. We still haven't seen what he's capable of at the club. So it's definitely a subject I would touch on rather later in the year, in the summer months. Abdul says, Joe, do you think Montella should prioritize the league and rest players such as Bonaventura, Suso, and Baca against Juve? Suso won't be playing. Like I said, most likely he will not be even called up for this game due to his injury. As for Bonaventura and Baca, simply I don't think that that Montella is really, thinking about caring about the league or the Coppa Italia. I think Montella wants to go far in this competition as well. I just want to recall something before I get into other comments, and that is that the Coppa Italia winner will qualify directly to the Europa League group stages. That's something that I wanted to recall that many people sometimes tend to forget. At the moment, Milan is in 7th place. We obviously have a game in hand, and winning that game could momentarily put us at least in 4th place. And simply, I don't think that AC Milan will finish in 7th place. I think they will do better. But we also have to recall that we only won 1 game out of the last 5 in the Serie A. My point is that if we could manage to go as far as in the competition as we could and potentially win it, that could be a good asset to have, because if by any motive Milan don't end up in the Europa League due to the fact that we don't end up in the right positions, then we do have that lifeline of the Coppa Italia. Once again, this also plays a part in the depth of the club, because if you consider us progressing through the competition, you also have to think, well, that means more games in which, unfortunately, our starters will have to start in, and we don't have the proper backups to, just put them in these games and give us the results. So that could obviously add to the fatigue of the players that are playing every day, every game. So it's definitely something that you have to consider, but I think Montella knows that he wants to go as far as possible in this competition. We already won the Supercoppa this year. If he can go as far as winning the Coppa Italia too, I think you can call it a successful year, also given to the fact that it will pretty much guarantee you qualification to the Europa League at least. EK Warrior says, is it true that Donnarumma's agent has asked for 10 million for his wages per season? I've heard reports of that. I've also mentioned about it a few days ago. But it really isn't concrete news. What I mean by that, it's not like it's coming from a reliable source. I think this was coming in from Rai. And personally, I don't know who made up this rumor of 10 million on wages per season, simply because Mino Raiola said many times that he wants to wait until the Chinese take over to discuss about wages and so forth. So whoever came up with this number, you can pretty much say it's bullshit, because Mino Raiola never stated anything himself. So we're going to have to see about that, but simply I think that is a bit too high to consider for an 18-year-old. But we'll once again see very soon what Mino Raiola's intentions are with the Chinese. Football Bro says Deulofeu is very happy being at the club, like he posted on his Instagram. Yes, he is very happy of joining Milan. Like I said before, he said that it is the best team in Italy with their history and so forth. It's definitely a team that he wanted to join for a long time. He also changed his profile picture on Twitter, his banner. Everything says that he's a Milan player already. I think he's pretty excited to start his adventure as a Rossonero. Perez says Niang should leave. I think that he needs to leave if he wants to get playing time, or else he's going to be rotting on the bench all season round until the end of the season. Does Milan Supercoppa title have any impact on Europa qualifying at all? Really doesn't have any impact on Europa League or Champions League in regards to qualification. Nothing at all. What do I think of Ocampos? Once again, I already mentioned it before. I said that Ocampos is definitely not a significant upgrade over Niang, and he simply won't even be getting much playing time, even if he comes. So I don't really see the purpose of him coming. This all depends, of course, if Niang even wants to join Genoa before Ocampos could even be considered coming to Milan. And apparently Niang does not want to return to Genoa, so this deal might not even happen. Jans says, to be fair about being 7th, the table is very tight and we are only 3 points from 4th. We also do have a game in hand and there's still a lot of games left to play, I believe, in Europe. I believe so myself. I don't think it's really a problem of where we stand in the standings at the moment. Like I said before, we have a game in hand. We are only a few points away from 4th. It really shouldn't be a problem, but Milan need to start getting results. They need to start getting wins. And more importantly, they could have to play a full 90 minutes. They could not just show up in the second half if they want to be winning games. They have to play the full 90 minutes, and that will pretty much guarantee them the results. Yes, they are. They're all Milan fans as them, if you're asking. What do I think about the Luis Gustavo news? Read about those news as well. I think they're definitely pleasing news to hear. Luis Gustavo is a very good player. I like him. I think it would be nice to see him at Milan, and it could be an option for them in the summer months. Definitely something that we might need. He is 29 years old, so he is getting older. He's reaching his 30s, and he will be reaching that in the summer months, I believe. But definitely, he's a player of experience, a player that has won a lot of titles, and a player that has experience, especially in the Bundesliga, playing for Bayern, playing for Wolfsburg. You know, definitely a very good player. I like him a lot. But like I said, he is aging, so I don't know about him being a long-term option at the club. Arjun says, Joe, do you think we need to buy Pasalic after the end of the season? For the right price, I would consider buying Pasalic. I wouldn't want Chelsea to impose a pretty big transfer fee for Pasalic because, yes, he's had good games, but he's also had some shaky games this season. It's not like he was consistent all season round. But I definitely do think that it could be a good addition if we do sign him once again for the right price. This season, he has got a lot of appearances so far. He's also scored a goal. He has been important to Montella, but once again, I want to see what he's capable of until the end of the season to really make a judgment of whether we should be signing him or not for him to become a permanent player. Karim says, your thoughts on Sosa's performance against Napoli, and would you like to see him again in the midfield? I spoke about him in the match review. Jose Sosa didn't really have a positive first half, I have to say. I think he was pretty shaky. He also picked up a stupid yellow card. His passes were a bit off. I didn't really like Jose Sosa in that first half. He did do a bit better in that second half, in my opinion. But I think that Locatelli should be and should remain as the starting regista from now on until the end of the season. Jose Sosa could be brought in case something happens to Locatelli or maybe for Coppa Italia matches, but I simply don't see him starting or gaining the start over Locatelli. Someone was actually mentioning it on Twitter. With Locatelli, Milan this season won 10 games out of 15, and I think that's a pretty good statistic to have for an 18-year-old like Locatelli. So, you know, 19, sorry, my apologies. But, like I said, I personally don't think that Jose Sosa will be taking Locatelli's place. He's not consistent. He has decent games, but personally, I wouldn't be giving him starts at all. Ocampos dribbles nearly 3 times in the match, which is a lot more than Niang. I agree with that, and like I've watched his highlights, I just don't see him getting any starting time at Milan. He could be a substitute that comes on. Will he be impactful? You know, I simply don't know. And now with Deulofeu and Bonaventura, both two players that could be playing as a left wing position, Ocampos will most likely be a second or third option for that position. So we'll see what happens with that. Not like Niang wasn't already. Maybe it could be a bit of an improvement, but I don't see Milan really benefiting from this at all. That's gonna wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you for all your questions. Once again, you guys can still leave your comments in the comments section if you have anything to talk about. You guys can still discuss amongst yourselves. But that's really pretty much gonna wrap up today's transfer news. Once again, Deulofeu has officially become a AC Milan player, at least until the end of June. He has arrived from Everton on loan for a 6-month loan deal. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the match preview of Juventus against AC Milan in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia. On Wednesday, of course, we will be having our watch-along followed by the match review. Thank you guys for joining me today. This has been Gio signing off from Rossoneri TV. And as always, Forza Milan.